As that wind kicks up, the rain is really kicking up right now, so it's certainly getting nasty out here. Just a couple minutes ago, there were a lot of people around the square, and then as the weather got worse and worse and worse, you saw them disappearing. If you look here, this is supposed to be a celebratory weekend. There were a number of events scheduled right here in the square. Now, square completely empty. All you can see is just those tree limbs. Thankfully, though, we do still have power. You still have illumination here. The street lamps are still lit up. The square is still lit up, but not sure how long that's going to last. I know we are experiencing a number of power outages throughout the city, throughout St. Augustine, but we'll get back with you on those numbers. For right now, just seeing how bad this thing is going to get. Live in St. Augustine, Caitlin Ross, First Coast News. Lewis, we definitely are seeing water come over the wall here. You can see a lot of strong winds just blowing that water all the way up into the air and over the wall. We are starting to see some accumulation of water here. You can see we're getting a little bit of a puddle, although it's not some serious flooding, but it is kind of deep in some places, causing some concern for residents who live right along this area in Riverside. They are used to this area flooding. They know that this wall can't really hold back the water once it gets very strong, but this was the site where the mayor decided to bring the governor of Florida, the city council president, our congressman, our senator, to show them what we're dealing with here in Jacksonville. While we were waiting last night, seeing whether or not this was going to be declared a hurricane, they really braced for it. They declared a state of emergency, and they said they wanted to be prepared in case we need that federal money for the cleanup.
We've been working around the clock, and so I thought having them here to see the debris, the damage, and all the things that we have to deal with in our city would be a great opportunity for them to see it firsthand.
Mayor Brown says he's not sure at this point how much that cleanup is going to cost, but he did tell me they have more than 1,000 city workers out there right now clearing up the debris off the streets, trying to get these areas clear so people can move about safely. But again, if you look at this water behind me, still a lot of cause for concern and a lot of reason to make sure you stay safe through the end of this storm. Reporting live in Riverside, Caitlin Ross, First Coast News. That we've sustained so far here in Jacksonville. We have filed for a state of emergency, which means we are eligible for state funds. But the mayor says they're still trying to figure out how much money we're going to need to clean this damage up.
We got over 1,000 people out right now cleaning up, picking up the debris all around the city. JEA is out trying to make sure we get our power back on. We still have over 13,000 people without power right now. So we're really working hard. Our public works team are planning. We're really pushing the issue to make sure we clean up as much as we can. We've been working all around the clock.
So we're still trying to figure out how much money it's going to take to clean all of this up. You can tell this is still very active here, still blowing a lot of debris back out onto the street, still a possibility for flooding. So the mayor says we have over 1,000 people actually out here in Jacksonville cleaning all of this up, trying to take care of the mess in the wake of Beryl. And Lewis has a little bit more information in San Marco about how this is affecting them out there. Lewis? And you can see just right here, you're standing at about 6 inches of water. Some of that has drained out. Drainage system looks good, but that water is certainly still coming over the wall. If you look at St. Vincent's Hospital here, a lot of debris has actually been flung from the hospital right into the river. You can see right out here, it looks like almost a piece of furniture out there that's just lost in the river at this point. And so that's what the governor, the senator, the mayor, the city council president were all here to see. And they did see some of this damage, some of this water coming over the wall here, but the really bad stuff has probably already passed.
So far, well, you know, I live in this neighborhood, and so 4 o'clock this morning, the river was coming over the bulkhead. It was actually breaking pieces of concrete, throwing them into people's yards. Docks have been destroyed along here, so this was very serious.
And the mayor said he brought all of those folks out here to actually see how bad the damage was. He said they did declare a state of emergency, so he wanted to make sure that the elected officials who might have a hand in giving Jacksonville some money if they need it for the cleanup could actually see the destruction here and the amount of money and man hours that's going into the cleanup. The mayor did say that they have over 1,000 workers on the streets of Jacksonville right now working to clean up all of that debris and get the roads cleared, so that effort is certainly underway. Reporting live in Riverside, Caitlin Ross, First Coast News. Well, we finally are enjoying that lull that we were hearing about a lot earlier. It seems like the wind has finally died down a little bit. It's not raining too hard out, and people are starting to clear out of the area. They're moving out of St. Augustine, but certainly there's going to be a lot to clean up. If you look right down here, just branches all over the place, all along the sidewalks. And so I spoke with the Department of Public Works here in St. Augustine. They said they're going to be out bright and early, or actually before bright and early, very early this morning, starting to clear some of this up and make sure that they get all of those limbs, all of those tree branches, so just in case when the storm does get worse, that's all taken care of. So they said they were anticipating this. They've been on standby for a long time, and that they're all ready to get out here and work and clean this place up, because even though some of the Memorial Day festivities are canceled, there are certain to be a lot of tourists, a lot of people on vacation, and even a lot of people in the area that just want to get out and about in St. Augustine tomorrow. So they said they really want to make sure that it is safe for everyone. The Bridge of Lions is actually open, so people are traveling freely throughout here right now. There are cars kind of coming in and out and about, but most people at this point have gone home, which is good news because this storm is going to kick back up at some point. So hopefully everyone will be home and safe in bed by then. Reporting live in St. Augustine, Caitlin Ross, First Coast News.
You're incredible with all that great information you always give. And I've got a great guest. I call her Kate the Great.
I like that. We can go with that. Let's keep that.
And she, if you don't know, she came in from Albany, New York. It seems like you just got here yesterday, but you've been here how long?
For a little bit more than a year now. So we've been here a little while.
That's amazing.
Getting acclimated.
It really is. And I'm going on 2 years. It's like a blink of an eye. We must be loving what we're doing what we love.
Exactly.
Okay.
Time flies when you're having fun.
You got it. So you were out there in the thick of things.
I was. I'm still a little bit, I think I'm a little underdressed to be in studio right now.
You look great. I tell a lot of folks they let their guard. How would you compare this to like a snowstorm? There's a lot of folks that moved here from the Northeast, and what is this compared to like out there when you're out and about?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I was expecting it to be much more dissimilar. I was really thinking it was going to be a very different event, that snow is much different than rain, and when it snows it shuts everything down, which actually happens with this hurricane. I mean, the tropical storm, the thunderstorms, I thought it was going to be, it's rain. It's just rain. Right. I thought you were going to be able to go around and do everything you normally do. Not the case. When we were down in St. Augustine, I mean, everything just came to a screeching halt. It was like you really had to stop. People really kind of stopped, paid attention after a while, and realized how serious this was. Okay,
pretty interesting. So it's just like a snowstorm like you saw, and there was a lot of debris around the area. Steve caught in on the west side and said, it's just dangerous out here. I can't see anything. We see some roads taped off because there's too much debris in the road. Did you have problems dodging a lot of stuff on the area road?
Yes, we were. It was a video game. No, but it really was. I mean, there was right around the square in St. Augustine, there's a lot of different shops and people like to walk around there. But unfortunately, people were really stuck. They couldn't get around a lot of places. There were a lot of downed tree limbs. And we talked with the Department of Public Works, who said they were really focusing on this area just because there's so many people that want to walk around. It's Memorial Day weekend. They made vacation plans. They were expecting to be out and about, and you really just couldn't be.
Right. And see, last night on the beach, Jacksonville Beach, we were out there warning folks, but they were coming in to see me from Kentucky and Tennessee. What do we do? We've never been through a storm. I said, well, how long are you here till? Monday? Well, you may want to.
It's not going to get nice. I spoke with some folks who were on vacation here from Louisiana, and they said, come on. Give me a break. They just got here today. They pulled in, downpour immediately. Right. And they said they were leaving on Tuesday. So I said, maybe as you drive away, you can wave at the sun in your rearview mirror, but maybe not.
So it just seemed like some people were caught off guard. That's what I was worried about, the holiday weekend, caught off guard. And Tim is too humble to ever admit this, but our weather team have been watching for the possibility of Jacksonville's biggest storm since Dora, which was 50-year anniversary is coming up in a couple of years, 48 years ago, 1964. So this is the strongest tropical system since 1964 hitting land. And Tim circled the calendar on my birthday. This is how I remember. So May 14th on his calendar, notice here, he has the 27th, 28th, forecast GFS, and he's got question mark, tropical storm, question mark.
That's impressive. So he really has it written on this calendar.
Has it written down here.
That is very impressive.
We're all liking the weather. Yeah. We'll see, Tim, but it came true, and we were ready for it. Tried to get the word out, but again, it's Jacksonville. It's before tropical season. Folks were saying, well, it doesn't even begin until June. Usually these storms don't hit us, but they do hit us. That's the thing here.
Well, I think what's scary is that you don't realize how quickly it creeps up on you. And we saw this especially in St. Augustine. When you see those roads flood, it happens in the blink of an eye. It's not something that you're like, oh, there's just a little bit of water. Okay, there's a little more. We have time to get out. It really happens quickly. And that's what people were warning us about, especially we were at the Santa Maria restaurant, which is beautiful, gorgeous location. It's right out on a pier. I mean, they're on stilts right there. And they said, you know, they love it when people come in. They love having business. People like to come in there and watch the storm. But they said they have to kick people out. At 6:30 tonight they closed because they said, look, this is dangerous. And people don't understand how quickly the situation can get dangerous.
Quickly things went downhill. So that's how a lot of folks were caught off guard on the road, as Steve said. And we had another report. Tim was talking about that really bad accident up in Camden County. I guess a tree on a car. Nobody was in it, luckily. We had another report of a tree on a car, Kingsley and Orange Park, and we checked to see if there was any injuries. Luckily, they think nobody was inside the car. So we've been very lucky so far, no injuries or fatalities or anything like that. But the problem is we study these storms and look at all the data that comes in. Unfortunately, the backside of the storm and folks getting antsy and going back out before they should, that's when we see most of the injuries and a lot of times fatalities in these situations. So we've been lucky so far, but the word we need to get out is this is going to be a storm that's going to be around for several days, and we're not going to get back to being normal for quite some time.
Well, I actually had a question, because when I was listening, you know, we're out in the field and we're trying to gauge what's going on in our immediate area, and you and Tim had kind of been talking about the lulls. So what does that mean when you have a lull in the storm? Because I'm sitting there like, where's my lull? I'm on a lull. We didn't get any lulls.
The lull is, not everybody gets the lull. You have to be
okay. Well, I didn't get a lull.
Okay. You're on the wrong side of the storm.
No lull for you.
The center of the storm came right over areas near Michler's Landing, Jack's Beach. So they get a lull because they're right under the center of that developing eye wall, okay? So the eye wall is the worst part of the storm, and then the calmest part is the eye. And Lou Turner went with barely being able to breathe or talk to seeing stars out.
He was fantastic, yeah.
So he went from that to stars, and now he's starting to get some wind and rain again as the second part of as that lull starts to move west. So that's what it lulls people to sleep. They say, oh, we're okay.
So there actually is some truth to the calm before the storm. That's an actual thing.
The calm before and during the storm, and then with these tropical systems, actually you get the second side of the storm that comes in and hammers you. Just when you think it's over, you get this nasty backlash and even more damage with all the objects that have become rattled and all the debris.
Now, with all of these very specific timelines in terms of lulls and kicking back up, do you and the weather team take bets in terms of when things are going to happen? Because I would imagine it's like a very sliding scale, so you got to hit it at the exact moment.
You do. Luckily, we have Chief Meteorologist Tim Deegan, Steve. We all work together.
All right. Okay. No competitive nature here. All right.
It's all. I work with great people, so we nail it down, and we tell each other what we think, and usually when you come together and work together, we nail it on the head. So I thought we did pretty good, very good with the timing, actually.
Now, when you guys are all observing this, I've kind of noticed you and Tim have this great dynamic tonight. You know, you're here reporting right now, and Tim's off doing research, and then Tim's doing research, and you're reporting. You guys are like trading off. So how much is that you guys playing off each other and actually learning new things as the storm develops?
That's what's great about this. Every storm is different, and you learn something with every storm, and then you talk meteorologically with Tim Deegan, and you're just learning things. I'm learning something every day when you work with him, and especially with these big storms, you learn even more. So I'm just very fortunate to work with great people, and I try to, you know, I do my part in researching some things and tell Tim things he may not know about as far as what's going on with the storm. So,
well, y'all are both telling me things that I don't know, because I'm learning a lot during this whole thing.
So it's definitely a team effort. It makes a huge difference.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you for the education.
And I appreciate you helping to warn people out there. You've been out there, seen it firsthand. Not a good night to be out.
No, absolutely not a good night to be out. Man, I couldn't feel worse for those poor people who had their wedding tonight, because it was like people were screaming for the hills, like, we got to get out of this. This is getting bad.
Right. Well, I really appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing more of your reports over the next couple of days.
Well, let's say in a couple hours from now. Let me go home, get some sleep, and then I will come back and I will report some more.
Okay, yeah, please go get a little rest, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, keep on trucking.
All right, thank you, Kate.
Have a good night.
All right, Kate the Great. Now you know why I call her that. As we take the latest look at what's going on, we've got Tim back in position. He looks like he's all fired up. I think he ran a 5K just to get all ready for it. He's just full of energy, ready to go.
We do, but we want to show you the rest of the story. We're going to show Kate the rest of Kate's story, and that is you saw her storm gear, sort of. Here's the rest of Kate's storm gear. Let's take a look. There you go. Styling.
That was good.
Oh, yeah.
Styling in the storm.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know she had those.
That's why it's so nice to have women as part of the team. There's Lou.